Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Delightful Kiss Boy, and today I'm going to explain to you why Crapless Craps is in fact crap, and that is no cap, buddy. I've mathematically proven down here that if you take the craps out of craps, you just get crap. And that's right here on slide 1 for you to see. But if that sounds interesting to you, consider sticking around for the rest of the video, and also consider subscribing, because I do all sorts of gambling analysis, game analysis, I look at the math, I write code, I simulate things, I get the numbers, I crunch the numbers. It's a good time. And we joke around a little bit. I'm kind of a silly guy, but let's just get into it. Why does Crapless Craps suck? Why is it crap? All right, well, how does Crapless Craps work to begin with? On the left here, we've got our ordinary craps table, and on the right, we've got our new and improved, slick-looking Crapless Craps table. Now, if you don't know how to play craps, I would recommend that you learn how to do so before watching the rest of the video. I'll link to a video in the description where I explain every single bet on this godforsaken table, and you can watch that. Come back, it'll probably make a little more sense to you. But for the rest of you who already know how the game works, let's just cover what's different between the two, okay? You're going to notice that the Crapless Craps table has 4 more point numbers as compared to the traditional craps table. We now have 2, 3, 11, and 12 as possible points that you can set on the come out. That's because, as the name would suggest, we no longer crap out on 2, 3, and 12. Instead, we set those as points. In addition to that, if we roll an 11, we would normally win immediately on the pass line on a traditional craps table, but now we just set that as another point, right? And it functions the same way as regular craps after that point, where the shooter just keeps shooting. If they hit the 7 before they hit their point, you'll lose the pass line. If they hit their point before you hit the 7, you'll win on the pass line, all right? Pretty simple, all right? In addition to that, you're going to notice that all of the dark side bets are gone. That means that the don't pass bar is gone, and also the don't come bar is gone. And in my opinion, I have to admit, this is a huge W for the Crapless Craps table. Now, why is that? It's because I don't listen to anybody when they tell me not to come. I come when I want to. If you want to tell me to come, I'm happy to do so. All right, that's fine with me, but don't go around telling me not to come, bud, because I'm going to come. So, huge W to the Crapless Craps table for just getting rid of all that shit. I mean, it makes sense because now it's, we'll get into the math a little bit later. But I have to complain before we get into the math about one huge flaw in the Crapless Craps table. I'm going to give you a second. Pause the video. Can you see it? That's right, you can bet any craps on the Crapless Craps table, which in my opinion is a huge load of fucking crap, all right? Because think about it. What is the Crapless Craps table telling us? It says we don't have craps in Crapless Craps, but you're allowed to bet any craps in Crapless Craps, which is suggesting that rolling 2, 3, or 12 is still craps in Crapless Craps because you're allowed to bet any craps in Crapless Craps. So that just seems like a load of fucking crap to me, and they should be getting rid of this bet. What are they doing? Do I sound crazy here? Do I sound crazy to you? I think I'm making perfect sense, all right? I think I'm making perfect sense right now. All right, let's move on. So, that means lower house edge, right? Well, we can't crap out anymore on the come out roll. That must just improve our odds. Thank you, casino. You fucking dumbass. You really think that the casino is going to invent a new game, Crapless Craps, in order to lower the house edge? My sweet summer child. Why the fuck would they do that? Why would they do that? No, obviously, Crapless Craps is going to have a higher house edge. That's why the casino's doing it, all right? Well, why the hell does it have a higher house edge? There's no more craps. We can't lose on the come-out roll anymore. So why would it have a lower house edge? Well, it's because we don't auto-win on 11 anymore, bud, and that affects our odds dramatically. Let's take a look. I'm going to break down the math. Before, on a traditional craps table, 5.56% of the time we're going to win on 11. We're just going to immediately roll 11 on the come out, 5.56% of the time, and then we get paid out 1-to-1. 11.11% of the time, conversely, we're going to lose on the craps numbers. Well, now, after we've introduced the new Crapless Craps system, now 1.39% of the time we're going to win on 11. Now, why is that? It's because now, if we roll 11 on the come out, it just gets set as the point. So now to win the bet when 11 is rolled, we now have to have the shooter roll 11 again, which is pretty unlikely. It happens about a quarter of the time before they roll they roll the 7. Yeah, excuse me. So we've reduced our chances of winning on the 11 from 5.56 to 1.39%. Admittedly, we have improved our odds on rolling craps numbers because now we're setting those as points as well. But once again, they're so unlikely to be rolled before the 7 that this only equates to 2.18% of our win rate, rolling a 2, 3, or 12 and then hitting the point. Now, 4.17% of the time when we roll an 11 on the come out, we're going to lose. And still, 8.93% of the time that we roll a craps number on the come out, we're going to be losing. All right? Which means that this drops our overall win rate by 1.98%. And that's not all. It increases the house edge from 1.41% on the pass line to 5.38%. All of a sudden, this is looking pretty fucking bad, okay? It's this bet is pretty much, it's worse than 00 roulette on a Crapless Craps table for the pass line, which is completely ridiculous. Well, I hear what you're saying. I don't give a fuck about the pass line, Delightful Kiss Boy. I just make those place bets, buddy. What about my precious place bets? I can't speak all of a sudden. Look at this. We got a power presser over here. Don't worry, buddy. They still suck ass just as much as they used to in Crapless Craps. Now you get 4 more stinkers to bet on. You can place the 3 or the 11, and immediately your energy becomes more amber. But in addition to that, you have a 25% chance to get a payout of 11 to 4, and this has a whopping house edge of 6.25%. Now, this astute among you may notice that this is actually a lower house edge than place betting the 4 or the 10 in regular craps, but doesn't really matter because that sucked in regular craps. Betting or place betting on the 4 or the 10 sucks, so this isn't really doing much for us here. You can also now place bet on the 2 or the 12, and there you have a 14.29% chance to get an 11 to 2 payout, and the house edge is 7.14%, which is by far the worst house edge for any place bet. So you're not really gaining much at the Crapless Craps table. You're not losing anything with the existing place bets that you have, but you're not getting any new opportunities here. Well, what about buys, right? You know, you don't want to be place betting the 4 and the 10, you want to be buying it. Well, how do they look on a Crapless Craps table? Well, yeah, they're here. Whoop-de-fucking-do. When you buy the 3 or the 11, they'd probably be grateful that nobody listens to that band anymore. But also you get a 25% chance to get paid out 6 to 1 with a 5% VIG. When I say VIG, I'm just talking about commission here. So basically you get a 6 to 1 payout, you lose 5% of that. And that is going to happen whether or not you win, okay? This gives you a 4.76% house edge, same with all other buys, unless the buy is paying, or unless you're only paying the VIG on wins, okay? Which I'll get to in a sec. If you're buying the 2 or the 12, you have a 14.29% chance to get paid out 3 to 1 with a 5% VIG, which is also a 4.76% house edge. If the VIG was only charged on the win, like they sometimes do with the 4 and the 10 or the 5 and the 9, they'd actually be kind of sick. I think it's like a 0.72% house edge on the 2 and the 12 and like a 1.25% house edge on the 3 or the 11. But newsflash, they don't fucking do that, all right? They're not here to help you. It's just the 4.76% house edge that you get with all buy bets. In addition to that, you got to do fucking math to figure out if it's divisible and yada, yada, yada. It's just more bullshit, okay? Well, you're going to notice that we were talking about, you know, paying out 6 to 1, 3 to 1. It's because that's what the odds pay out. You know, that fair. They basically pay out fair, and you can actually make odds bets in Crapless Craps just like regular craps. So the odds got to help us out here, right? Well, they do help because just like with normal craps, they're going to pay out fairly after you've made a pass line bet. It's just that the pass line bet that you're making has way worse of a house edge than with normal craps, all right? And in addition to that, most places are only going to allow you to place up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x max odds. What does does this mean? Well, it's similar to a traditional 3, 4, 5x table, where basically, depending on what the point number is, you can place up to a different amount of max odds. So in this case, on a 2 or a 12, you can only put up to 1 times the amount that you've bet on the pass line in odds down, and on a 6 or an 8, you can place up to 5 times whatever you put on the pass line down as odds, all right? I've seen some tables with 10x in Las Vegas. They're few and far between, but they are there. But the fact of the matter is that these tables, even with 10x odds, never even come close to being better than a traditional table. They are just way too bogged down by the shitty house edge of the Crapless Craps pass line bet. For context, to kind of put this in perspective for you, here is what a pass bet with 10x odds looks like on a Crapless Craps table. It has a 0.58% effective house edge. Not too bad, but here's the thing. Compare that to a pass bet with 3, 4, 5x max odds on a regular table, the most common craps table you're going to find, and you still are beating it with a 0.37% house edge. Half of the max odds, less than half of the max odds, it's 3, 4, 5x, and it still has a much better house edge. That's how much the Crapless Craps table is bogged down by the shitty pass line bet. So, in conclusion, there's basically no reason to play Crapless Craps. It was a crap game developed by the casino to try to trick you into thinking, hey, this gives me an advantage because I can't crap out anymore, right? But instead, you're getting a worse house edge on virtually, you know, the pass line, all right? That's all that really matters here. If you have a purely place bet strategy, you'll be unaffected, but once again, this is not the best way to play craps. So if you're ever betting the pass line, it's going to be just strictly worse than playing at a regular craps table. I should mention, by the way, that even on a Crapless Craps table, betting the pass line with full odds, max odds, is still probably going to be better than a place bet strategy, which is just a testament to how much better pass line with odds is than place betting, by the way. But once again, if you're just making place bets, you're going to be right at home at the Crapless Craps table. This is a D-tier game. You shouldn't play it. Just a short little video. I wanted to rant about this because fuck Crapless Craps. And, you know, never trust casinos to be on your side, okay? So take it easy. Hope you all have a good one. Bye-bye.